Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving headfirst into one of the most mind-bending ideas in all of science. It's the possibility that your entire life, all your memories, your friends, your family, everything you think is real, is just an illusion.
So let's just get right to it with that one big question. Are you actually real? I mean, you feel real. You remember your childhood, and you remember what you had for breakfast, but can you trust any of that? Because here's the alternative, proposed by a famous thought experiment called the Boltzmann brain paradox. It suggests you might have just popped into existence a second ago, complete with a lifetime of memories that never actually happened. So how on earth could physics lead us to such a bizarre and frankly kind of terrifying idea? Let's get into it.
To get our heads around this, we actually have to take a step back and look at how our whole understanding of the universe changed. We went from thinking of the cosmos as this perfect, predictable clock, all thanks to Isaac Newton, to seeing it through the lens of energy, thermodynamics, and, well, chaos.
And in that huge shift, scientists discover this concept called entropy. And you've got to understand, this isn't just another rule of physics. For all intents and purposes, entropy is the rule. It governs everything.
So what is it? Think about it like this. A system with low entropy is neat and tidy. It's ordered, like an ice cube, right? All the water molecules are locked into this perfect, repeating crystal structure. High entropy, on the other hand, is a complete mess. It's disordered. It's steam, with molecules just flying all over the place. And the one thing you can bet on is that everything in the universe is always moving from order to disorder.
And that relentless march from order to disorder, well, that's what gives time its direction. It's why coffee gets cold, why buildings crumble, and why we remember the past but not the future. Entropy is literally the universe's arrow of time.
Okay, so entropy is the universe's tendency toward messiness. How does that lead us to question our own reality? Well, this is where the brilliant physicist Ludwig Boltzmann comes in. He took this idea of entropy and mashed it up with statistics, and in doing so, he basically created a philosophical nightmare.
Here's the crucial bit. The law of entropy doesn't say that order can never appear out of chaos all on its own. It just says that it's, well, staggeringly unlikely. A shattered egg isn't going to spontaneously reassemble itself on your floor. But is it technically impossible according to physics? No. Just really, really, really improbable.
And this is where things get super weird. Because if you have an infinite amount of time to play with, even the most improbable things don't just become possible, they become inevitable. Given an eternity, that shattered egg will eventually reassemble itself. All the air in your room will, for just a split second, gather in one corner.
Now, when we apply that logic not just to an egg, but to the entire universe, and we assume the universe has an infinite timeline, we have to ask ourselves a very uncomfortable question.
So, which is more likely to randomly pop into existence from chaos? Option A, an entire, massive, highly ordered universe like the one we see, with trillions of galaxies and billions of years of history that is astronomically improbable. Or option B, a much smaller, momentary blip of order, like a single human brain that just thinks it experienced an entire universe. That's still wildly improbable, but it is way, way, way less improbable than option A. And the implication is just chilling. If the universe really is eternal, then for every one real person who evolved on a planet over billions of years, there should be countless phantom brands just popping into existence for a moment. Statistically speaking, you are overwhelmingly more likely to be one of them. Okay, take a deep breath. How do we get out of this existential crisis? How do we prove we're real? Well, luckily, this entire horrifying paradox, this whole argument, is built on one single massive assumption that our best science now tells us is completely wrong. That's right, this whole terrifying house of cards, the statistics, the seemingly inescapable logic, it all comes crashing down because it all hangs on this one single idea. The paradox only works if the universe is eternal. It needs an infinite amount of time to make those ridiculously improbable things a statistical certainty. It's like having an infinite number of lottery tickets. Eventually, you're guaranteed to win.
And here's the beautiful thing that saves us. Every single piece of evidence we have, from the light of the most distant galaxies to the cosmic microwave background radiation, the echo of creation itself, it all points to a completely different story. Our universe had a beginning. About 13.8 billion years ago, everything kicked off in an event we call the Big Bang. And here's the most important part for us. It started in a state of incredibly low entropy. It was super orderly from the get-go. And 13.8 billion years, that's just not enough time for these Boltzmann brains to become a real statistical threat.
So you can relax. We have 3 really solid arguments to save reality. 1. The universe isn't infinitely old. 2. It started out ordered and has been getting messier ever since. It didn't start as a mess. And 3, and this is a big one, we have absolutely no idea if a random jumble of atoms that just happens to look like a brain could even be conscious to begin with.
Now, you might be thinking, okay, that was a weird and scary detour, but what's the actual point? Well, it turns out that this bizarre paradox has become a seriously useful tool for scientists today.
And here's the big takeaway. Today, when cosmologists are dreaming up new theories about the fundamental nature of the universe, they actually use this as a sanity check. If your new, shiny theory predicts that Boltzmann brains should be common, well, that's a pretty good sign your theory is broken and you need to go back to the drawing board.
So, in a really strange way, the fact that you and I are here, sharing this consistent reality, remembering the same history, the fact that we can even worry about being a Boltzmann brain, is pretty much the best evidence that we aren't one. Our existence itself is proof that we live in a universe that evolved, not one that just randomly appeared.
But it does leave us with one last massive question to chew on, doesn't it? This whole thought experiment forces us to stare right into the face of the biggest mystery of all: how a collection of ordinary atoms can somehow come together and create the feeling of being you.
Hey, if you enjoyed getting your brain twisted by big ideas like this one, do me a favor and hit that like button. And be sure to subscribe for more explainers that dive deep into the biggest questions out there. Thanks for watching.